Hey, you're about to listen to an older episode of the Volunteer Youth Worker podcast. This is a podcast that Sid Coop, Jason Ballard, and myself, Jeremy McDonald, started back in 2018 to answer the practical questions that you're asking in your youth ministry. But lots has changed since we started it in 2018. We've changed the name. We're doing new and different events and lots of other things. The thing that hasn't changed, though, is the content you're about to listen to, we think is still really valuable. But if you notice that some of the things we're talking about are obviously a little bit older, that is okay. You can always head to youthworker.community to stay up to date with what's happening currently right now here in 2024, and you can track along with us there. We'd love to see you. But enjoy this episode. Episode 111 of the Youth Ministry Team Podcast. Welcome back. My name is Jeremy McDonald. I'll be hosting the intro and the outro, but not in the conversation today. This was an interview that Sid Coop got to do very recently with Laura Bronson, and they'll fill you in on all the great work that she's doing, some creative ideas on doing ministry in the pandemic and even beyond. And so looking forward to sharing her stories with you. Now, we're dropping this as kind of an extra episode. We've got lots of cool conversations that are coming up with a number of phenomenal guests, and all of these, just so that you know, are designed to help you, the frontline youth worker, better disciple the teenagers in your care. And so if you have a team, if you're a point leader in a youth ministry somewhere, we would love for you to share these episodes with your volunteers. We think it'll inspire them. We think it'll give them some practical next steps and some tools. And that's the whole heart behind this particular podcast. And so coming up, we have got conversations with Jeremy Albrecht. He's a part of ministry in Eastern Ontario in our country, leads a number of things with the Pentecostals Assemblies of Canada, but also has got some just incredible stories of doing ministry on the ground. We've got some resources around grief and loss and how to process that with teenagers from our friends over at Acadia Divinity College. They're actually doing a bunch of stuff around this particular topic, and we can't wait to get that into your hands. We've got some friends from InterVarsity that are talking about doing ministries in school. Coming up on Monday, we've got a few of our youth worker community leadership team bringing another episode. So just all sorts of things that you are going to be able to just download for free. So make sure you're subscribed wherever you're listening to this podcast. Subscribe to get episodes each and every week. That will be a wonderful thing, I think, for your ministry. Now, one other thing before we jump into today's conversation is that we have got, as a part of our community, the Coalition for Youth Ministry Excellence. And the Coalition is a very unique apprenticeship-based training program. And so if you are a youth worker that is in ministry right now, you're in a local context, but you're looking to get a little bit more training, the Coalition is perfect for it. And it's actually accredited at the bachelor's and master's level. And so we have students that are in the Coalition and have been in the Coalition over the last 3 years, who are ministry veterans, who are going to get their masters, who are brand new to youth ministry and stepping in and using this as the launch pad for their vocational ministry. We've got volunteers who are stepping into higher levels of leadership in their organization and use the Coalition as a means of preparing for that. And so all sorts of great ways to be equipped for ministry while you're doing ministry. And there's lots of information at coalitionforministry.com. That link is in the show notes. That's a part of the youth worker community family. And so we're loving the stuff that's going on at the Coalition. Coming up this fall, a new cohort launches, and we'd love to have you a part of it wherever you're at. For right now, let's jump into today's conversation that Sid Coop got to have with Laura Bronson.
Welcome to the Youth Ministry Team Podcast. Youth ministries rise and fall on the team of volunteers. So this podcast is for the whole team. Join the conversation as we tackle the practical questions you're asking so you can be encouraged and equipped as you head into your role in your youth ministry this week.
Hey everybody, Sid Coop here with the Youth Ministry Training Podcast. Look at that, Laura. I don't even know my own podcast half the time. How crazy is that? And you know what? It feels like today is like one of those days where we don't have Jer, who's normally hosting our podcast, so I'm hosting it, so I feel like I'm in a new seat. But I am so excited, Laura, to be in this conversation with you. Everybody, I want to introduce you today to my friend, Laura Bronson, who is like one of the coolest youth workers that I know. And Laura, I'm not just saying that. And I've known, like I would say, Laura, we probably know of each other more than like we know each other. We know each other somewhat, but I'm gonna tell the story even before you get a chance to share a word here, and we're gonna get there. It was like maybe what would it be like now? 10, about 10 years ago, we were doing this thing. The Canadian Youth Workers Conference was like a once-a-year national conference. Once a year it happened in Vancouver, once in Toronto. And I think we were in Toronto, Laura, where we were doing an event called Fuse before the conference, which was young leaders and older mentors getting together, facilitating conversations. Imagine that. And Laura comes in and she is rocking this place. So awesome. And so, Laura, I don't know if you were working for Youth for Christ yet at that time. I don't think you were. You were?
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe, right?
Just started.
But we knew, like I knew right away, she's not living in boxes. She's breaking molds already. And there was a passion about your desire to see the next generation know Jesus. That was awesome. And then you and I think Mike came to us. I was part of the older group, of course, and said, man, what you guys are doing as an older community, we want to do as a younger group of leaders as well. And I just remember that was one of my first interactions with you. You had a passion for ministry, a passion to pass faith on to the next generation. And I was like, oh boy, get out. Like Laura's going to do stuff that, man, I've never been a part of. And here we are. It is true. And we are so thankful to have you with us, Laura. Thank you for being here.
Oh man, this is an honor. Thanks so much for letting me hang out with you today and chat some deep things right now.
So good. Laura, you know, one of the things, there's a couple of things that I've loved so much, just as I followed you, and I have followed you. I know Tim Coles is your boss, and I love Tim, and he loves the work you do as well. A couple of things just stand out to me right away, Laura, is that you are led by the Spirit. So you are about, God, what do you want me to do? And then you're just doing it. So there's like courage and boldness with that I admire. I'm challenged by. Thank you so much for that. I also love that there's thoughtfulness in what you do. So it's not just random, although random, like I'm not opposed to that at all, but there's a strategic thinking that you're involved in. So I'm super thankful for that. And then you're innovative. So you are finding out how to get to kids in spaces that the church doesn't often get to. And I love that. And then the final thing, Laura, that stands out to me so much is you're really serious about sharing the gospel and inviting kids to choose to follow Jesus. And I want to say thank you to you for that. Thank you. We need it. We've always needed it more than ever, and we continue to need it more than ever. And I love how you're leading in that. And I'm praying, Laura, that your example in stewarding the gospel so well would continue to spread to other leaders. And you know, Laura, on this podcast, we have a lot of youth workers, some point leaders, and a lot of volunteers that listen to this. And you are with them because you are on the ground working with teenagers day in, day out, doing it. And thank you so much for being faithful and joining us for this time. I sure appreciate it.
Oh, for sure. Thank you so much, brother. Like, that's so encouraging. Thanks. It's fun doing youth ministry. I love it so much.
Okay, so Laura, you have a unique ministry that you do under Youth for Christ called Keep It Real Ministries. So please talk to us about that. Tell us what Keep It Real Ministries is.
Yeah, so basically I travel around Canada as a missionary to our country, really. And I'm inspiring young people to be real in their faith. So whether that's through graffiti art, through skateboarding, through hip hop, YouTube videos. And it's really neat, actually. We've had an opportunity to go to schools, camps, conferences, youth groups, rallies, all of that kind of fun stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're really, like, Laura, you're connecting with, with students in unique ways that, you know, in my experience growing up as a youth pastor, I wasn't always the best at bridging to students in some of these areas that they're excited about because it wasn't really part of my journey and it wasn't part of kind of the structure that I had grown up in within my church. So engaging in the arts, engaging in hip hop arts, engaging students in these different ways has been that's just right. That's core for who you are, connecting with kids in that space and giving them a vision of how God wants to redeem and use that in like life-changing ways. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, for sure. Like if that's where young people are at, I'm like, I'm going to go to where they're at, you know? So it's a win-win. It's like my passion too. And that's where they're at. I'm like, let's do this.
Yeah. And you know what, Laura, I mean, when you use the word that you're a missionary to Canada, first of all, we need more missionaries to Canada. And by the way, I do want to say this, volunteer youth workers who are listening to this right now, this is you. You are the missionaries to Canada. I think it's beautiful. You're doing your missions work in a different way than what Laura is, but the principles and the passion are the same and are so needed. And so I love the resonance. I love that. I love framing the work that we do is missions, because that's exactly what it is. We're being cross-cultural missions right now, right in this space. And Laura, that's exactly what you're doing, which I love so much. Laura, how long have you been doing Keep It Real Ministries? How long has that been going on for?
Oh, that's a good question. Basically, when I was a teenager, technically when I was 14, I started bringing out ramps in front of my house and having Bible study prayer meetings in my basement with like 30 teenagers packed out. So technically, I guess you could go back to then, but really after...
Wait. I got to pause. I got to interrupt you for a second. Volunteer youth workers, I want you to hear what just happened. Laura said when she was 14, God got a hold of her heart. She started rocking Bible studies in her basement for her friends, on her half pipe in front of her house, whatever. So don't kid yourself. That 14-year-old that you're trying to connect with on Zoom right now, you have no idea what God might want to do through them, right? Like, if we can just ask the Lord to give us wisdom on how to light that match, like, come on, that thing can burn. So, Laura, this is so great. So, 14, you've got a passion to do this. Okay, keep going.
Yeah, and I didn't even know how to preach, but I had a heart for God and I had a heart for the word. So I would just share as much as I could. And after high school, I noticed that, like, wow, there's such a need right now. A lot of friends are walking away from the church. And I thought, what can I do? Like, I'm out of high school. I see friends walk away. What if I just kind of challenge my friends? So I started making these shirts that said, be real, keep it real. And I would spray paint, or I bought a printing machine, started printing them, and we would like hand them out and people would wear and like proudly represent. And every time they put on a graffiti hat that said, keep it real, it would challenge them personally in their faith, right? So as time went on, we started, getting invited to, a few youth groups here and there. And as I would go, I said, can I actually bring some friends with me so I don't have to come and speak or paint alone? They're like, yeah, for sure. So these friends formed the crew. And before you knew it, we had a ministry. We didn't plan it out. God just over time, we were faithful with the little and God trusted us with greater. So first we were doing mission trips in our own backyard, going down the street, and over time branched out to Quebec. We're like, what would happen if we packed a van of us teenagers and went and served at a province that has barely any youth groups, and let's just see what happens. And, God just started to, open all these doors that we could have stayed, I'm telling you, never on our own. We could have never done that, right? And over time, God just he moved in a powerful way. It's pretty neat.
Oh man, Laura, I love that so much. I'm just amazed again at the vision that God gave you, the way you stepped out and just went for it. And I can't even imagine, like, Laura, I think if I hear your story, it didn't feel like there was a lot of roadblocks in the way. But, when I hear it, I can't imagine how some of us would have gone, oh, I think you need to plan that better. Oh, you need some resources more. Oh, how are you going to provide for, all those kinds of questions that we ask and aren't bad questions, to some degree. But you just, God had a vision, placed it on your heart, and you went. And it's just amazing to me how God honors faithfulness. And how, his word is so clear. He will give us what we need to do what he's asking us to do. And I love how that has been your story. I think it's so beautiful, Laura. I said to my boys the other day, I was talking to them, there's lots of different things we could do, but if I'd chosen something else and God would have shown his faithfulness, I wouldn't have the stories I get to tell today about his faithfulness. And Laura, you have so many great stories to tell about God's faithfulness in your journey. And I love it so much. Way to go. I think it's great. Okay, Laura, here's the deal. So right now as youth workers, to some degree, we're in a bit of a depression. We've just had new restrictions and regulations placed on us at the time of this recording. It is like near the end of April, and we all thought that we would be in person in our buildings, doing our ministry the way we knew, using the systems and structures that we'd become incredibly accustomed to. But last year, when the lockdown started happening, Laura, and the systems and structures first, we lost those that we'd been used to for so long. you felt like God was saying to you, hey, those things might not be here, but the mission still remains. And so you responded to that to go, man, okay, if I can't meet indoors, if I can't meet in this space, then I got to go where I can still do what God's calling me to do. Tell us a little bit about that journey, what happened, and what took place over last summer and is continuing on this summer again.
Yeah, for sure. Last June, as soon as things started to slowly open up again, and it was announced in Ontario, okay, you can meet in groups of 10. The day that happened, I made a flyer on my iPad and I said, okay, that's it. Let's see what God wants to do at the skate park. And I remember right at the time, actually, my friend Dan, he randomly told me, Laura, can you mentor my daughter? She's going into grade 9. I'm just wondering if you can, talk to her a bit about Jesus. I'm like, for sure. Tell her to meet me at the skate park. I'm going to start something. And so she came and brought 2 friends. So guys, we started a youth group with 3 grade 9 girls, and we just said, let's just see who shows up. And I remember even the day before launching, I went around with a few flyers. Like, I saw some kids smoking and stuff. I'm like, yo, would you like to come to this cool thing we're gonna do? And some were like, okay, yeah, maybe. Okay, yeah, maybe. And over time, this group kind of kept growing and growing, and we stayed true to our message. We said from day one, we're gonna do Bible studies. We're gonna full out chat the Bible and pray. We're not gonna hold back. We're not gonna do it in a weird, obnoxious way. We're gonna obviously respect others around us. But we said, let's just see what happens. And as time went on, for 20 weeks in a row, Sid, we met at that skate park, and a solid group of about 30 junior highs and teens came faithfully. And half were Christian, half were non-Christian. But either way, even the non-Christians were super, super stoked on the Bible stories. And I was even shocked. I'm scratching my head God, what are you doing right now? But you see, there's such a hunger in young people to belong. There's a hunger for truth. And when we brought that and we stayed true to what we believed, oh my gosh, God did some neat things. So,
okay, so there's a couple of things I want to pull out of there right now for our youth workers that are listening. Number one, like we already referenced, the mission are, the boxes we work in, the systems and structures are gone, but the mission and the values have not changed, right? The kingdom values are the same. The mission is still clear. And so you took steps and went for it. And we go small, we go slow. There's actually something about that, I think, in this time where we go small, we go slow. So you had 3 kids. You're able to connect with them outside appropriately. That's great. And you didn't know how long this was going to go. How many days a week, by the way, did you show up in that space consistently? Was that once a week? Is that what you were doing?
We did once a week. Yeah, every Tuesday night from June all the way to October. Around Halloween was our ending. And it was, oh man, rain or shine. There's about 2 times it rained, but we went to a canopy and we all still did art with markers, painting. It was so fun. Dude, I can't wait. We're gonna go back in a few weeks as soon as things get warmer, as things start to open up again.
Yep.
Yeah, God's doing some neat things.
Okay, so you were consistent, you were faithful, and then you were committed. Oh man, I think I almost got 3 C's there, Laura. That's amazing. But you were committed to being, like you said, true to who God was calling you to be. You were committed to prayer. You were committed to the word. You were committed to the gospel. And that didn't change for you. And what I heard you say, Laura, is that you had a really diverse group of kids that were a part of this weekly engagement. So you had kids who had experiences of faith and kids who didn't have experiences of faith. And then I think, Laura, if I'm not mistaken, did you just do this by yourself or did you bring some friends with you or what did that look like?
Yeah, so at first I did me and my brother because I was like, okay, there needs to be 2 adults there, right? And so over time, some young adults in the community were like, hey, can we help? We've actually never been to the skate park, but we live down the street. We heard about what you're doing. And then on top of it, other parents started saying, hey, we would like to help. Can we actually bring a case of Gatorade? Can we drop off bags of chips? I'm like, please, thank you. And so oh man, I realized this is not only youth ministry. This is family ministry.
Yeah.
We're now reaching these younger siblings. 10-year-olds were coming to hang out. there were like some of these older siblings coming. There were grandmas and grandpas, there were parents. And I was like, wow, this is interesting. I think we by accident just planted a church on zero budget.
Zero budget church planning. I love it so much. Oh,
Yeah.
man, Laura, that is so beautiful. So, taking a step, just leaning in, being faithful, using the resources that you have at play, being committed, and watching Jesus do his work. Hey, what were some of Laura, when you think back to last summer and you think about the fruit of that time, what would be some of the things that stood out to you as just being really satisfying, things that you celebrate coming from that time?
Yeah, well, there were a few teens that actually at their church, they don't have a youth group. And so afterwards, at the end of the night, I would skate with a few of them and hang out. And not all of them were skaters too. Some were into volleyball or soccer, and some of them would love to do art. So they're still there. But there was this one particular skater named Ethan in grade 12. And afterwards, he came up to me and said, Laura, this is so neat what you're doing in youth ministry. He's like, I think I want to go in youth ministry. I can see myself doing what you're doing someday. He's like, and I said, yeah, dude, you can. So I took note. And then next week, when I wrapped up the Bible chat, I'm like, Ethan, could you actually pray out loud for everyone right now? So at a skate park, he's full out praying for all of these this group. And not only that, it built confidence. So I started seeing him reaching other skaters that I actually couldn't reach. There's teenagers that speak Ethan's language, a grade 12, better than I can. So in a way, I just kept challenging this leadership team of these teens. Basically, for the teenagers that came, I'm like, you are the leadership team. They're like, okay. And they took it serious. They helped set up. They helped pack up. I would pull up my car and this crew would swarm and help me pull out all of the art gear and everything like that. We gave out hats and skateboards, all that. So they'd help me set up. And it was so exciting, Sid. It was a win to see these teenagers take ownership. And I think we're almost at a point where this summer, I can almost step back a bit and start to plant another skate park ministry at another city in a high need. And I'm pumped for what God's doing.
Come on. Okay, so here's a couple of things I just want to say to volunteers who are listening. Number one, even though our context has changed again, the mission hasn't. So stay the course. Think small. Think consistent. And so if there's just two or three, connect how you can. Who knows what the Lord will do with that? And then stay committed, to the gospel, to scripture, to prayer. You invite the Spirit to work, and who knows what the Spirit will do through that. I just think it's amazing. And I just, who knows? We may not end up with the 30 kids gathering outside appropriately. Who knows? I don't know. That's kind of irrelevant, to be honest with you. But the fact is that our mission and call hasn't ended, and we have to ask God to continue to renew our passion and renew our focus on the work that he's calling us to do. And I just love how you're, for me personally, Laura, I'm wrestling with, motivation, inspiration, resetting again. And I'm just so thankful for you, my sister, to share the story of God at work in you with me, to go, oh yeah, stay in it, stay the course, don't quit. This is so beautiful. Now, Laura, really practically, one of the things, and we talked about this before, that you learned or have found yourself on a journey of learning is that, again, you had a diverse group of students, both kids of faith and kids who were completely not of faith. And yet your calling was to these kids that God had given into your care. And so many of our volunteers are working in spaces where they might have a lot of church kids, some unchurched kids, and they're trying to figure out, what can I say? What can't I say? How do I angle my conversation? What does that look like? What did you learn last summer about working with discipling both churched and unchurched kids at the same time, Laura?
Yeah. Well, even if I met some junior highs or teens that I knew clearly, okay, they do not go to church, I right away was like, welcome, you are part of this group, this team. And actually I would hand out Bibles. So, if you just picture this kind of group on the cement at the skate park, all reading Bibles, and we all had the same one. Because I knew in my mind, some of these kids don't know where John 3:16 even is. So I'd say, go to page 500 and we make a game out of it too sometimes. Okay, winner gets a pack of Skittles. Who can find it first? Page 500. And so what I kind of tried to do was even the non-Christian youth, I still discipled them, and I intentionally poured into them, and I would sometimes get them to read out scripture or let some of them try praying. And I was actually shocked. Okay, Sid's shocked, because sometimes families would walk by and they'd be like, oh, what's going on? And they're like, can we join? And they'd kind of hang out and watch a bit. And sometimes I'd say, who would like to pray? And sometimes non-Christian kids were like, I could do it. And I was so bold. And it would be like a short prayer. And I'm like, yo, this is discipleship. Even just practicing with them. And it's, oh man, it was really neat though. I think when we get to a point where we're not like making little groups of like, okay, only certain people belong, but to really just what's the heart of Jesus? Like, like be welcoming, accepting of all, like, and that's kind of what we went for,
Oh man, Laura. So, I mean, I've been wrestling for a while on this concept. When Jesus came to his disciples, he said, come follow me and I'll make you fishers of men. So, and at what point did the disciples actually, become disciples? But they were being discipled on that journey, right? And I just love, again, you're true to who God's called you to be. No hiding there. You're accepting and open and inviting of all. It's not us and them. There's not the other. It's just come, we're in. And then that beautiful invitation to join us in these practices. And as we engage in following, all of a sudden, there's something authentic and real that is taking place in where they are. And then the Spirit is working and deepening. And I'm just really thankful. I'm really proud of what you've done. I think it's beautiful. Volunteer youth workers, you don't give up in engaging the practices that are part of shaping faith. Invite our kids into it. Don't create the insider jokes. Let us all be together. I think that's really beautiful. And stay the course. And again, Laura, I'm just, even in my mind right now, I'm just praying, Lord, protect like Laura's integrity, her authenticity. May it be authentic to your work in her life. That's what's really transforming. I love that so much, Laura. All of our research tells us, again, what we model as authentic followers of Christ is most significant in terms of what is passed on. And I just love how that's been your story. And Laura, even as we're talking here, I just want you to know, like, I'm really privileged to be your brother, man. Like, and to just celebrate the work that you're doing. So it's so beautiful. Okay. So in light of that, Laura, we had an aha moment the other day. And it's kind of stupid, but I don't even care if it's stupid.
So good.
Because before we do this, when are you planning are you planning to head back? Is this something you're pressing play on again? Tell me what the plan is for like this part of the journey that you're on.
Yeah, so June we're gonna go back to the skate park in Waterdown in Ontario, and then we're hoping for the summer to go to Brantford, which is a half hour away. A really, really rough area, if I can be honest and real, at the skate park there. So we're going to be having 2 skate park youth groups this whole summer and spring and fall.
Yeah, you are. Yeah. And Laura, where can people find out what you're doing? Like, where can they follow what you're doing, track it, hear it? Some people might even want to like get involved. They might, hey, listen, again, this is like church planning with no resources, going for it. And some of us have resources that we should give to this, Laura. So how do we track with you, follow you, figure out what's going on? How do we do that?
That's awesome, Sid. On my Instagram, Laura_Bronson. That's where I post a lot of stuff. And then also on our website, IKeepItReal.ca.
Yeah. Okay. IKeepItReal.ca. And I'm guessing also, Laura, if people forgot, they could go to the Youth for Christ website, and there's links that could get them to what you're doing as well. Is that correct?
Sure. Yeah. Youth for Christ Canada. Yeah.
Okay. So here's the dealio, everybody. We're talking, Laura jumps on a call last week, and you can't see this because we are not doing like video podcasting at this point in time. And that's probably a good thing for everybody watching in general. But over the last month or two, I've kind of got bored, like many of us have in some ways. And I'm like, okay, I just need to break my monotony. So I started growing this mustache. And the stash has taken on a life of its own. Every time I get on a call, someone comments on it. Here's what's funny, Laura, is Jeremy, who's normally hosting the podcast, he's like not so much down with the stash, okay? Like he is not into the stash. And right before we jumped on the webinar last week with youth workers from Ontario, he was like, Sid, people don't really like the stash. And so then I'm like, no, dude, they like it. And so we jumped on the call, and right away people started commenting, and you commented on it. You're wonderful. Nice stash, Sid. It's so beautiful. And then you said, man, I bet you we could raise money with that thing. And I'm like, all of a sudden, for the first time, Laura, I thought perhaps my mustache could have a greater mission in life than, just removing my monotony and bothering Jer, right? I thought, how cool is that? How cool if by some crazy miracle, for some reason, the stash could help raise money to do kingdom work that you're involved in, Laura. Are you kidding me? So here's the stage set. Right now, youth worker community is planning to be in Ontario end of June. We're doing 3-hour stops, 21 different stops over 16 days across the country, 4 in Ontario. And so Laura and I just started thinking, wow, maybe if people would pay, we could keep the mustache growing until we're in Ontario. That would be both nasty and awesome. So we could keep it growing. But, if people would pay for that, and all of that money would go to the work that you're doing, and then maybe we could do something fun there, like shave it or start another fundraiser and grow it longer, although I'm not 100% sold on that. But if it was for the kingdom, I'd be down with that. Or maybe people would say, Sid, the best kingdom work is to get rid of that thing right now, get the money to Laura right now, and do right kingdom work. But either way, we're going to do a fundraiser on this thing, Laura, for your ministry. If it's $5, I'm already contributing $5. Either way, I'm contributing. Or if it's $1,000, that's great. So Laura, how should we go about doing this? What do you think? Do we have a plan? Do people need to track and follow? How's this going to work?
Yes. Well, I feel like a lot of people want you to keep it. So I think that we're going to have to wait a few months on this. You just kind of keep it growing, and then we'll share on Instagram through, Keep It Real Crew or Laura on my own personal Instagram. And we'll put it out there, you guys, that there will be a link that you can clearly donate to keep this mustache on Sid. And the funny thing is, for real, you guys, earlier when I was talking with Sid like a week ago, he's like, oh, I do kind of want to get rid of it, but I guess if I have to for the kingdom. And I'm like, dude, you're keeping it. Let's do it. So okay. Stay tuned, you guys. We'll definitely share more info about how you can donate to this mustache. But guys, let's see how long we can keep it going. Maybe at the skate park we can shave it off for you as soon as you arrive to Ontario.
Yeah, right. That's what we do. We'll show up at the skate park and then we'll deal with it. So, but here's the deal. Okay, so Laura, I think we got to go live with this thing next week. If we get more money to get rid of it than we do to keep it, then it's got to go, right? So we have to somehow do a poll and track it. And see what we've got more of, right? And so, Laura, you're going to lead the way on that. We'll have more chats. People should jump on and check this thing out. And then I'll also post on my account and on our YWC account, and we'll talk about it. And by the way, here's the dangerous thing, Laura. If we're like youth ministries, we have to get in-person gatherings, but it might not be in June. It could be till September. So we actually now have alternate dates for our tour in September. Are you kidding me? Lord, if I had to grow this thing all summer, there better be a lot of money going to your ministry for that to happen, because that's going to be a piece of work.
I'm going to message all of your friends, like Matt Wilkinson, Chris Tompkins,
get it.
All of them. I'm going to call them all. I'm like, guys, please donate so we can keep the mustache on.
It's going to be money. I don't think I have anything filming coming up or anything that is going to be detrimental. And I don't even care. Laura, if God could use this for your ministry, I'd be so pumped. So stay tuned. Laura, tell us again where people can be following you. They can track with you, praying for you this summer, checking out what's going on, supporting you. Where do we follow that again? Give us that information.
Yeah, for sure. I'm all the time posting on Instagram. So Laura_Bronson, and then on our website, ikeepreal.ca. Would love to hear from you guys. We got lots of videos and fun things like that.
Yeah, Laura, thank you so much for leading the way. Thank you for, again, encouraging me inspiring me to keep going in the work that we need to do wherever we are. There's always a way. God is at work, and what we do matters. And Laura, I'm super proud of you, and I love what you're doing. And I'm really looking forward to being able to connect with you as soon as it lifts enough for us to be able to do so. That's going to be great. So, Laura, thank you so much for your work, my friend. Sure appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for believing in the next generation. We love you, man.
I love you too. All right, everybody. Hey, thanks so much for being with us on the Youth Ministry Team podcast. We appreciate what you do, and youth workers, you make an eternal difference. That is so clear. So God bless you. Stay the course.
Well, there you have it. What a conversation, and all of the information is in the show notes on where to find Laura to find out more about about Sid's mustache, which is that is something else. Yes, we have talked about it a few different times. Listen, before we go today, I wanted to make sure you knew about our other sponsor. We're super grateful for Trinity Western University. They definitely make this podcast happen through their partnership with us, and we not only love them for what they do as a part of our community, but we love what happens on their campuses. So they are a phenomenal university that is training Christian leaders for the workforce. And honestly, if you look, there are just an enormous amount of different degree programs that you can be connecting students into. And so if you've got a teenager that's still trying to process what they're going to do, maybe this fall, maybe next year, you've got a grade 11 student, a grade 10 student, Trinity Western needs to be on your radar because they care so deeply, not just about the outcomes of the student's vocation, whatever program they're taking, but they really care deeply about their faith as well. And so it's just a really cool, unique connection between those two things. And we love the work that they're doing. So Trinity Western University, the links are in the show notes. Make sure you familiarize yourself with that, especially if you're a small group leader for students that are in later years in high school. All right, we'll see you back on Monday for another episode of the Youth Ministry Team Podcast.